I graduated college in May of 2022 with $30,000 of student debt to my name. Now, while I did have a nice little 9 to 5 lined up, well, not too nice because it didn't pay too well, but I did have a job lined up for August at this time period of May to August where I need to start making some money, and I drastically needed to start making it so I can start paying off that $30,000 of student debt. Now, of course, I went with the fastest ways of making a little bit of quick money, which were not selling drugs, but it was DoorDash, Uber Eats, things of the sort. I got a little old 2006 Honda Civic, and I knew I had to put that little car to work. So as I'm doing my DoorDash, my Uber Eats, I'm constantly listening or watching YouTube videos about how to make money online, how to get to 10K a month, how to free yourself from, the 9 to 5 system. And one day I stumbled upon a video about print on demand. Now, I didn't pay this video too much mind, but I let the information kind of seep in, slept on it for a couple of days, and then I realized, or I had a brilliant idea of how I could start doing print on demand, putting designs on shirts and selling them. It seemed like a simple, straightforward business model. I did start, and although I had stopped many times throughout my journey, and after doing print on demand for almost 2 years, I was finally able to quit my 9 to 5 and go all in on my business in August of 2024. So about 2 years later. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 beginner tips with an outlook on 2025 to help you avoid making the same mistakes that I did. And tip number 5 is also going to put you ahead of 99% of your competition. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, tip number 1, and this is something that I have yelled about, I've screamed about all day on my YouTube channel and over 200 videos, is when you want to start out, you want to start out very, very simple. So you're not going to build a brand from day 0, from day 1 with no experience of e-commerce, no experience of social media, no experience of designing products or selling clothes. So instead of going down that route, which I always suggest for people after they make some money, you want to build something consistent. But to start out, go with designs or go with a niche that already has an established audience. I can tell you just 3 specific ones right off the top of my head. These include doctors, pediatricians, nurses, teachers. These are all very passionate groups, and family members, friends of these people who have this occupation love to gift them products that are related to their occupation because their job means a lot to them. It's a job that they take very seriously, and it's truly something they're passionate about, especially when it comes to teaching or being a nurse or helping other people. So with these kinds of niches, especially if you're in it yourself, it's going to allow you to sell something without having to build an audience for it. And from personal experience, this also helps out a ton when you are creating your content. You can make content that is related to trends that are going on in these particular niches, or sounds that are related to these particular niches. Specifically, when it comes to teaching, there's a lot of different teacher sounds related to teachers expressing their frustrations with their classroom or things like that. So imagine if you can just create content with someone wearing that sweater, right? A teacher kind of expressing her frustration while wearing it. It's going to be so easy to promote, and as you build up more and more affiliates or different people promoting your product, it's kind of just going to sell itself. Now, if you yourself are in the occupation, it obviously makes it much, much easier, but you don't necessarily need to. Tip number 2, one of the main things about print on demand is people think print on demand is simply an Etsy business model, or it only works on Etsy. My advice to you is to sell on multiple platforms. Now, Etsy is great, but Etsy doesn't require much maintenance or upkeep. But between the time that you're listing up different products, there's pretty much nothing to do on there unless you're running ads. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail with that, but I believe Etsy is a great tertiary platform. First of all, you want to have your own website so you can build up your mailing list and your SMS list. Let's say you get banned on Etsy, you get banned on Instagram, you get banned on TikTok. Well, no one's going to ban you off of a Shopify site unless you're actually, doing fraud or not sending out packages, but that is always going to remain. Secondary below your own website, you want to have either Instagram or TikTok, preferably both. These are going to be the organic social media platforms that are going to drive sales towards your website, and also you can sell directly on these platforms with TikTok Shop. Now, I'm not too familiar with Instagram Shop, I think it's called, but with TikTok Shop, this is pretty much the sales channel that got me most of my sales, and every single time a video goes viral, it gets me hundreds and thousands of sales. And on these platforms, you're going to be actively putting in work every single day with your organic content. So something that I like to aim for is 3 to 6 organic posts a day every single day. I know it might sound like a lot when you're first starting out. You don't have to follow my exact model for now. You can go with 1 to 3 posts every day, but these posts are going to get you traffic to your site. And even if they don't convert into sales, they're going to increase the size of your mailing list, which is just a bunch of people that you can send out emails to whenever you have a new release. Now, at the same time, Etsy is going to do its thing organically. As you list up more products, they're going to get out there more. As you get more orders, Etsy is going to push them more. As you get more sales, Etsy is going to push them more. But what I don't want you to do as a beginner is think you can rely solely on ads. You see, what most people do is they get a bunch of print-on-demand designs and throw them up on Etsy and then just spend a ton of money on Etsy ads. And when these platforms see that you're leading with your pocket, they're going to squeeze every last little bit of money out of you. And I see a lot of people do this on TikTok, on Instagram, where they pretty much spend all their money on ads, and although the sales are coming in, they don't realize that their margins are drastically reduced now. Instead of investing back into their products, instead of investing into affiliates and user-generated content, they're investing into unorganic pushed advertising. Now, don't get me wrong, once you have a bunch of organic content doing well on Instagram or on TikTok, run it as ads. But to start out, just create your own content, have some fun with it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, because as a beginner, the more things that you add on to what you have to do, the more you get overwhelmed. Trust me, I know that feeling. You just want to get yourself to that first sale. So create that content, have fun with it, and that sale is eventually going to come. Now, one platform that I always advise my consultation clients to get on is TikTok, because TikTok allows you to hook up your shop right then and there into TikTok Shop, but also you can create great organic content. You can get affiliates to promote your product, but also just you on your own. Even as a beginner, you can just hop on TikTok Shop Live, connect with your audience, and sell your products. Now, if you didn't know, TikTok Shop Live is going to be the biggest consumer trend in e-commerce in 2025. I'm telling you that right now, mark my words. With Live, you get to connect with your audience in a way we've never seen before in the West. It's already a $1 billion industry in China, so it's already a proven concept. But here in the US, it's slowly taking ground, and TikTok is pushing it heavily. Now, this comes to your advantage as a beginner, because you can go on live and connect with an audience in a face-to-face way, where they're not just seeing a product being sold to them from someone holding their phone behind the screen trying to make as much profit, but they're seeing someone trying to connect with your audience, replying to comments, answering questions about sizing, about how they started their business, and most of all, they get to finally connect a face to the brand, a face to the product being sold. Not only this, but this separates you heavily from other print-on-demand sellers. You see, what you don't know about most people on print-on-demand is that they are extremely lazy. Even the most successful ones, they sit back and do the bare minimum by using mock-up images. They don't even take the time to take real product photos. They just use mock-up images, create a bunch of listings on Etsy, and sit back and wait until the money starts rolling in. But if you're putting yourself out there, you're connecting with your audience, why would someone ever go buy from a different print-on-demand seller? You see the wording there. That is a print-on-demand seller versus you, a human with a small business. You see the big difference there? So when you go out and you create your content, you go on live, they see the face behind the brand. They see you as a human versus a bunch of listings that are clearly AI photos or mock-ups that someone is just trying to make profit off of. And this leads me to tip number 4, and this kind of ties in with the last tip. As I mentioned, print-on-demand sellers are very lazy, even the best of them. Now, what you can do to separate yourself from all of these other sellers is actually take real product photos with all your products. You see, imagine you went onto a website, let's say Abercrombie, let's say H&M, any big website that you like to shop from, and all of the images were just mock-ups. Imagine that you go onto a website and it's all just mock-ups, and the clothes are all in the same exact shape, they're all in the exact same fold. Would you not be turned off a little bit by that? Me personally, I would look at that and I say, it doesn't look like they're putting much effort into this. There's like no one wearing this item. What does it look on? How does it fit? Is there someone who's wearing it that's the same height as me so I can kind of compare? You see, this is what most print-on-demand sellers do. You'll go on their Etsy shop and it's literally, they're just selling the design. Pretty much a design thrown onto a shirt. They're all the same exact mock-up. There's no one wearing it, so it doesn't even answer your basic questions, but also it drowns you in a sea of similar images. And this is what happens on Etsy, where everyone has the same photos, no one is putting in effort, and people are just undercutting each other. So the customer is going to go with the cheapest option. Now, if you had real product photos with someone actually wearing it on Etsy, on TikTok Shop, on your own website, instantly this looks like like a brand now. This looks like a legitimate website. It looks just like H&M. You might not get the same high level models, but even if it's just you yourself, throw on your I Love Nurses crew neck and pose up on your website. Have your husband or someone take some pictures of you or whatever it is. You don't need to hire a model, get a family member, you yourself. You're just taking pictures with your product and you're having fun with it. If you haven't noticed already, we're trying to make our brand look more personable. We don't want to look like a logo that's just trying to get sale. And tip number 5, and this is the one I promised you that is going to get you ahead of all of these other extremely lazy print on demand sellers, is explore the different kinds of print on demand that you can do. Now, this is a tip I'm kind of speaking to myself now, or my younger version, not even younger, myself from a couple months ago. I had settled on Printify for about 2 years and I thought this was the most amazing, perfect print on demand platform. But what I didn't realize until these last few months is that Printify doesn't really innovate as much as other print on demand platforms. And I started noticing this around May. Now, there are some specific clothing products that with the seasons or with trends gain more popularity. And with print on demand, where things are coming in fast, you want to be able to take advantage of these trends. One that came over this summer was of the baby tee. If you don't know what that is, just do a quick Google search. It's a kind of shirt. Now, I was expecting them to get it in February so we can get started early, test out different designs, do photos, nothing. March, nothing. April, May, nothing. And these baby tees are at the height of their powers right now. They're selling like crazy. So I had to go overseas to manufacture, but I was hoping to do a Printify. Nothing comes until after the summer passes. Now it's around the end of August into September. They finally have baby tees, but they are the most basic baby tees you can imagine. Pretty much just a white shirt, and it has a tag in the neck collar that says made in China. So super low quality looking, extremely basic, extremely boring. I ordered a sample. It wasn't even the right product. So it was an absolute mess. That's when I started to realize, like, hey, Printify is great for a person who just wants to throw designs on shirts and have like 100 different shirts listed up. Maybe something will take off, maybe something won't. But if you want to do something a little bit more unique, a little bit more personable, I suggest you kind of think outside the box. And that's where I started thinking of embroidery. Now, I had thought Printify would again come out with embroidery before this holiday season so people can take advantage of it. Again, they came out with it late and it was very, very limited. This is when I started to kind of look around at other options and shopped around. And I came across Printful, which they're actually going to merge soon, and I'd kind of looked over Printful just because the product prices were a little bit more expensive and so was shipping. But Printful has a much more robust and advanced platform than Printify. Much more. And they actually offer embroidery, both center embroidery, chest embroidery, and they break it down into such a simple way. This is why this is still viable for a beginner. Pretty much all you have to do is go into Canva, think of phrases of things that you want to get embroidered into a clothing item. You can take it directly from Canva, remove the background, put it onto Printful, and they can embroider any phrase, any sort of simple design onto a crew neck. And they can even do more advanced designs on t-shirts, on crew necks, on caps, on beanies, all sorts of different products. You have to pay a little bit more for the more advanced designs, and also as a beginner you don't really have to do all that, but they can pretty much embroider anything for you that you can think of. Super easy, super fast, super simple, broken down in terms that literally a baby can understand. So this right here is what I suggest you do go into 2025. Apply the first 4 tips and make sure your items specifically are actually embroidered. Now on TikTok Shop, on your own website, this is going to make you really stand out from almost everyone else, even on Etsy. Now embroidery has already kind of taken a foothold on Etsy, but on TikTok Shop, there's very few people offering embroidery. And now that you can do it print on demand, you have infinite scale. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope these 5 tips help you on your journey, but most importantly, you need to remember that although these tips are great, if you don't take the first step, create the website, go log into your print on demand provider, nothing is really going to change. If you need extra help on your journey, you can look through my channel. I have hundreds of videos on print on demand and on e-commerce as a whole. If you need one-on-one help, down below you'll find my one-on-one consultation link and my one-on-one coaching link. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.